Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? And welcome to Tier List Thursdays. I need it. That's not really, Tier List Tuesday sounds so much better, but we're recording this on a Thursday, so we're just gonna go with that. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Otaku Brothers channel. I am here doing a fun tier list video for you all, and not just any tier list. It's something very specific. If you could tell by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, my favorite anime slash manga series of all time. And this is very, very exciting because I love JoJo's so much. I've seen and consumed at least the first 8 parts. I have read the first chapter of JoJo Lands. Oh my gosh, what am I? I'm already throwing. This is bad. No, I swear I'm a real fan. But yeah, no. So I have been exposed to JoJo's. It's been one of my favorite series of all time for as long as I can remember, since like what, freshman, sophomore year of high school. So this has been, yeah, I've been loving JoJo's for a long time. I've seen the first 7 parts in the anime form because Steel Ball Run just dropped its first episode like last month, which was amazing. Oh my god, it wasn't last month, it was March. Oh my god, it's been so long already. That's crazy. Yeah, so March is when the episode came out. But yeah, so I'm super excited. I've like here, I guess just to clarify and some things up before we begin. This is gonna be kind of interesting. I'm going to be comparing and ranking them like in order. So obviously they're going to be on a tier list, so rankings do matter, or positions on the tier list matter. So if there's like multiple in A tier, then there's gonna, the higher one in A tier is the better series or the better part in my opinion. So again, this is all my opinion. It's probably correct because I have consumed. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's definitely not correct. It's all subjective. So I'm just gonna give you my opinions, my takes. But as somebody who has been a fan of this series for a long time and has reread, watched multiple of the parts multiple times, it's I think I have some valid takes. I don't know, but we'll see here again because it is all subjective, like I said. But just some prefaces before I get into recording this. But before we any of that, actually, guys, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. You guys have been killing it on the views recently for these past non-podcast episodes, which is amazing. I love to see. So thank you guys so much for your support. We love you guys. But yeah, and then okay, so I just getting into the main prefaces here. I want to say right off the bat, right off the rip, that I have not read the manga for parts 1 through 5. So yeah, the Phantom Blood, Battle Tendency, Stardust Crusaders, Diamond is Unbreakable, and Ventoreo or Golden Wind, I have not read the manga for. So but I have seen the anime for all 5 of those, and then I've read the manga for Stone Ocean, Steel Ball Run, and I just finished JoJolion in like what, August of last year. So just recently finished JoJolion. And then obviously I've seen Stone Ocean, the anime, and I've seen the first episode of Steel Ball Run, and the rest of it's supposed to be coming out later this fall, so I will have probably seen that as well. So yeah, basically I'm going to be going off of the ranking for just how I've consumed it. So I'm going to be talking about mostly the anime for parts 1 through 5, and then getting more into the manga for 6, 7, 8, which is a little unfair, you could argue. But that's just how the cookie crumbles, man. Yeah. So I think first what we're going to do here is just kind of fit everything onto the tier list as a whole. And we're going to kind of sort it from there, and we'll see which one is the top dog for me. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. I'm very excited for this. Obviously, again, huge fan of JoJo's. Literally like half of my manga shelf is just JoJo's. It's like, it's amazing. It's peak. Yeah, I love the series. So Hirohiko Araki, one of the greatest artists of all time, in my opinion. But yeah. Okay, so first off, we have Phantom Blood, which is the first part of JoJo's, kind of like the early stages of JoJo's that always kind of gets forgotten. We have Jonathan, who's our first JoJo, kind of a basic protagonist, not much meat to chew on here, especially in the anime, which I believe is only like what, 8 episodes. So it's pretty short. And then we have our introduction of Dio. And so this part gets a lot of, not hate, but a lot of just, I guess not much merit, and just a lot of, critique, or just a lot of discussion around it, simply because it is the very first part and it doesn't have stands. It has Hamon, which is kind of something that's not really touched on again until, obviously, well, I guess Battle Tendency has it a little bit, but that's still considered the early stages, and then kind of gets reworked in part 7 with Spin. So yeah, part 1, Phantom Blood. Overall, I gotta just give it a B, man. It has to just be a B. Listen, I want to also say this. There is not a bad part of JoJo's. Every single part has something that I love and could want to go back and revisit and explore and rewatch, because that's just how good the series is. So let me just say that there's no single bad series, and I would be happy to rewatch all of this. I love every single part because part one has some cool moments. Zappelli, when he gets introduced, it's awesome. The Hamon montage training, the villains, like we get to see like Jack the Ripper for a little bit. The whole Victorian era is so sick. Jonathan and Dio's rivalry is just some good old fashioned shonen rivalry, which is amazing. So there is a lot of good stuff. Hamon is a very cool ability. I love how they incorporate the sun and just the techniques like hitting the frog and seeing it, the effects go through it is really cool. And then the training that Jonathan goes through and the whole like yeah of his growth from just like a small scrawny boy to this giant muscle builder is really cool. So it's some great stuff. And then Dio, obviously amazing. And then if we're talking about the anime, the opening is just fantastic, the iconic outro. So a lot to love here from Phantom Blood. But yeah, I think just because there's only 8 episodes, man. There's only 8 episodes, and it's tough. It's tough because yeah, it's only 8 episodes, and then it starts off with them being really young, and it's just kind of laying the foundation. But I will say the ending is amazing, and I think the ending is really cool and does is something that a lot of people forget about because I think it's really cool to see that hey, there's this series called JoJo's where we're introduced, and it almost has that Game of Thrones effect where we're like, okay, this is the series, and we're gonna be following Jonathan, and then he dies at the end of the series, at the end of the like 8 episodes, and we're like, wow, there's still a whole series. So how are there only 8 episodes? And it's because that like yeah, he obviously the whole series follows a generation of family, which is really cool. So, but yeah, I think overall it is still obviously one of the weaker parts, just because as we go on, it gets crazier. There's a lot more interesting characters. A lot of it is very surface level. It's not a bad story by any means, but just very basic and very plain, which there's nothing wrong with. It's fine. And then in the moments where it does need to excel, it does. So I think, yeah, it's really, really good. I want to give my flowers to Phantom Blood because it's obviously where this all started from and this whole story begins. And the payoffs later, I think, are very important. That's why when people are always like, oh, you can start watching from Stardust Crusaders, I think that is fair just because yeah like there's no stands. Hamon's kind of an interesting fighting style, but it is super rewarding to watch Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency before getting into Stardust Crusaders because you do have that payoff that you wouldn't get later on, and it's beautiful. And like seeing old Joseph, seeing how they're all like directly connected, whereas later on the parts it gets a little more hectic to how they're related. But just seeing that this is really the great grandson of Jonathan is really cool with Jotaro and things like that. So yeah, I definitely think you should watch Phantom Blood, and I want to give it its flowers before we move on because I know it's probably going to be at the bottom of this list, unfortunately. But that's just me. That's just me. So okay, here we go. Moving on to Battle Tendency. Man, this is hard. This is hard because I think at the most it goes in B tier, but I'm gonna have to make an argument. It's like bottom of A. I think in terms of the whole series, like I said, there's not a bad part. There's really not a bad part in the series, and I think Phantom or Battle Tendency is exactly what Phantom Blood builds on, and is exactly what Battle or Phantom Blood should have been. It fixes all of the issues that I have with it. It turns a basic story with basic protagonists like Jonathan into Joseph, who's arguably my favorite JoJo in the entire franchise. He's up there. You probably, I don't know if he's number one. He's definitely top three. Oh my god, that's a whole nother discussion for ranking protagonists. But yeah, he is one of the best protagonists in the series. Right away, he's a lot more charismatic and funny. He's a lot more flawed than Jonathan, who is just literally the definition of the straightest shooter. Like he is just a great human being. Whereas Joseph definitely has flaws, and we see that right away in how he treats women, how he fights. It's not very fair, not very honorable, but he's just such a fun character. And exactly, Hamon's a lot more expanded upon here, especially with Caesar introducing his bubble technique, and then we have like cooler villains, whereas Dio is really cool, but here we have a lot more mythical creatures like with the Pillarmen and that whole lore of the stone mask getting built upon, which is really cool. And just again, because it's longer, we get a lot more time to stick with these characters. We have amazing side characters in Lisa, Victor or Strent. Oh my God, what's his name? The German guy. He's really cool. And then we have, of course, like the other Lisa's like mentors as well, or like her other students that we get to meet. We have Speedwagon coming back into it. So there's a lot of great characters as well. And Caesar, of course, really the first Joe Bro. And he's really, really cool. And his, death at the end is very sad. Oh my gosh. Dude, okay, that was Life 360. I don't know if y'all heard that. I have Life 360 on my phone. And like whenever a like friend's like phone is dying, it makes like a crazy noise. That was disturbing. Okay. We're just gonna put that over there and mute that. But yeah, so where was I? Battle Tendency. It just does everything that Phantom Blood like should have done, and it does it really well. So for that reason, I think it's an A. The fights are, more chaotic, more exciting as well. And going to Mexico, we get to explore more different locations, was so fun. And then just, yeah, I think Joseph Hart carries this part too. And then the final battle is really cool on the racetrack and things like that. It's really cool, and he's just really funny. It's just exactly like I said. It builds on Phantom Blood. It makes it more comedic, makes the story more caring for the characters that we want to see them succeed more, because it's not as just basic and cutthroat as Phantom Blood was. And so for that reason, I think it's going in A tier. So yeah. Next up, man. Next up, we have the next part of JoJo's Stardust Crusaders, and I think this is gonna have to go in A tier as well, above Battle Tendency. This is where it gets a little basic. I think Stardust Crusaders is great. Upon rewatch, it is a little slow because it is very much the whole enemy of the week, and it isn't really building towards anything more except, hey, we need to go to Egypt to find to find Dio and kill him, and we're just kind of enemy of the week until we get there. But I will say, when it does feel repetitive in those aspects, it makes up for it with the incredible characters. Jotaro is one of the most nonchalant, coolest JoJo's. The side characters are amazing. When we got the return of Joseph as Old Man Joseph, Iggy, Polnareff, Kakyoin, Avdol, just great, incredible side characters. And we get the introduction of stands, which is so cool. I think one of the coolest power systems in anime. And the openings are incredible. I didn't even mention the opening of Battle Tendency. What is it called? Bloody Stream. It's the best intro the best intro in JoJo's, hands down. But yeah, then we get into Stardust Crusaders, and it is 40 episodes with half of it basically just being enemy of the week. So upon rewatch, that definitely lowers it. But like I said, the characters are just fantastic. Seeing their chemistry grow and build over time, and these characters care for each other, is really, really cool and amazing. And just the whole introduction of stands, it's so cool with how creative the stand abilities get, and we only see that progress later on. And then just the fight with Dio and the whole arc when they're in Egypt is so cool, man. It's so awesome. Dio and Jotaro's fight is arguably one of the most iconic fights in JoJo's, and for good reasons. It is iconic, it is bizarre, it is crazy, it fits all the boxes. So I think for that reason, I'm gonna have to give it top of A, man. It's really cool. It's really cool. The deaths are, very tragic. We have a whole bunch of different Joe Bros. I know a lot of people still talking about Polnareff and Kakyoin specifically, but even Avdol is really cool, and Old Man Joseph is great. Iggy is adorable. His fight with Pet Shop is amazing, so that's really funny. And then just a lot of iconic JoJo moments throughout the franchise that are here. We get the Darby brother fights, the monkey, the strength is really funny. The lady, I forget her name, but the metal girl empress, Vanilla Ice. So many iconic battles in this part. It's just a really, really fun part, and the memes are just chef's kiss from this part. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna have to give it top of A. I could, but there is an argument. I wouldn't be mad about it. I could see an argument for Battle Tendency, but still, I think it has to be Stardust Crusaders. So that's just, that's my take. Okay. Next up, we have Diamond is Unbreakable. Now, if you would have told me, not to spoil anything, but if I had only seen up to part 5, this is hands down my favorite part in the series. Like, out of the anime so far, I will say this is my favorite part. Part 4 is amazing. As somebody who's grown up loving horror and loves like the Twilight Zone-esque style stories, Diamond is Unbreakable is perfect. I love it so much. The characters are amazing. I love that whole, for a lot of the other parts up to this point, it was, hey, there's a villain. We need to travel to go kill that villain. That's kind of how it goes in Battle Tendency and Stardust Crusaders, to a smaller degree in Phantom Blood. But, that's kind of the goal. We are trying to, search for the villain. Whereas in here, we don't really know who the main villain is up until halfway, like in the series, kind of. For JoJo's, it's like literally just us exploring this bizarre town where these, supernatural events that aren't even related to stands at some points are occurring, which I think is so cool. We get some of the greatest side characters in JoJo's with Rohan, with Koichi. There's so many good side characters in here. The stands get even more crazy, and it's just so much fun. The lore in the history of the town that we see with, the whole like supernatural elements is so cool. When we meet, oh my gosh, I forgot her name, but the girl who died to oh my god, what's his name, to the villain of part 4. Why can't I remember his name? Yoshikage Kira. There we go. With to the who died to Kira, the whole backstory there, and the ghosts, the supernatural elements, the ending with that is so cool. With the alien of Earth, Wind, Fire, that is so cool. There's just so many cool supernatural elements, and I love how it's all just taking place in this one setting. Everything is happening in this bizarre town. Everything's connected somehow. Everybody knows each other. And Josuke is such a great villain. We get his whole backstory that is really cool about why he does his hair the way he does, because a man saved him. And at first we kind of thought that it was going to be some time stuff that was going to happen that would connect them, but it just turns out that it was just some guy who literally looked exactly like him. So, which is really cool. And he's just a great protagonist. And not to mention, we get the return of Jotaro and Joseph for a little bit in this part. I just love it. The intros are amazing. I think there's just something so cool about having a contained story within a small town where just a bunch of crazy things are happening. And then eventually, when it does lead to Kira, all the side characters coming together and connecting and helping Josuke and his crew work towards ending Kira, which is just awesome. The arrow getting introduced is really cool as well, about how stands work. Like the invisible baby. Like there's so many cool, like just little, like tiny, like lore pieces that just all connect together. And it is so fun. It is definitely, I think, one of the most rewatchable parts of JoJo's, because there's so much to like bite on and chew on in this tiny world. There's something for everybody here to enjoy, and that's something that I really love about part 4. And the openings, every single one is a crazy opening. Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town is great. Chase, and then Great Days. Oh my god, it's so good. I want to rewatch part 4 so bad. That's like that. It's just so good. Like all the stand fights are great. We got what's his name? It's the dude with Harvest. His name, I think it's like, it's not is it Shigeo? Something like Shigechi. It's Shigechi. Shigeo's from Mob Psycho. Yeah, Shigechi. His death is very sad and tragic. And Yoshikage Kira, again, we haven't really talked about him. Such an amazing villain who fits the aesthetic of part 4 so well. This is the first time when we've really had a villain too who is very different from the ones from part 3, who kind of has different motivations and definitely has other issues, which is really cool. Whereas you have, Stardust Crusaders and Phantom Blood, Dio just being like just the embodiment of pure evil. And then with Battle Tendency, you have like these godlike figures. So it's kind of hard to relate to these characters. Not that I relate to Yoshikage Kira at all. Let me just say that right now. But in the sense that, they have obligations, and it's almost more scary like that, because they're so human, and because they think like humans as well, but they're also obviously not good people, and the things that he does is horrible, but that just makes them all the more scarier. And his whole arc with his family, those scenes are so good. I love part 4. Part 4 is so good. So yeah, definitely go watch part 4. It's amazing. But yeah, that's that. But here we go. Moving on, we have Golden Wind or Vento Reo. I don't know which y'all prefer. I think, guys, unfortunately, this is gonna have to go top of A. This is gonna have to go top of A. Honestly, one of the most fun casts out of all like the parts. I think all of these characters are amazing. Giorno's cool. Bucciarati, one of the best side characters in JoJo's. Mista, Abakio, Fugo, and Narancia are just such great protagonists. As somebody who's watching The Sopranos right now, Golden Wind, it's made me want to rewatch Golden Wind so bad just because of the whole mafia motifs that are in here. It's definitely the most, at the time of the first five parts, it was definitely the most out there. And I think honestly, it could be argued still is. Um, Giorno is such a really cool character, being half Dio, half Jonathan, which is really cool to see how those two sides play out and mix within him throughout the part, and then just the whole cast about how he's an outsider and wants to become a mafioso for himself to help people is really cool. And then Bucciarati, one of the best side characters as well. His whole character arc and how he cares for his team and his family is just amazing. All the characters have such good depth with Mista, Abakio as a police officer. They're just such a good, you just feel the brotherly and family love throughout these characters, and just traveling throughout Italy is so so cool. And then obviously we have Golden Win, or Golden Experience becoming Golden Experience Requiem, which is awesome. Then we get Trish with Spicy Ladies, or Spicy Girls, Spice Girls. I forgot what the stand is specifically called. We get the Notorious B.I.G. stand, which is goofy and silly. There's some amazing fights and so many iconic moments. The 7-page Muda is in this. There's just so many cool parts. And then we have obviously Diavolo and Doppio as his King Crimson, one of another really cool stand. And then we have one of my favorite parts, or one of my favorite fights in all of JoJo's, in this part being Metallica versus Doppio. Amazing fight. Literally probably like top 3 fights in JoJo's for me. That fight was crazy. And it actually, whenever Crunchyroll still did anime fight of the year, it got nominated for one of the categories, which was awesome. They need to bring that back. Crunchyroll, what are y'all doing? Get on that. But so yeah, part 5, really good. Yeah, it's a little disconnected from the other parts, which is completely fine. It would have been cool to see Giorno come back in some way, or one of the characters, but it's definitely like its own self-contained story a bit more. But it is just a really good part. Like there's so many iconic moments. It definitely embraces the JoJo's bizarreness, like with the torture dance, another really cool iconic scene. And just I really have nothing bad to say about this, but just that I think there's other parts that are better. I feel like this is a really good self-contained story, to where like if it was, I think part 4 and part 5 especially, if they were just literally their own animes and like not connected to JoJo's, they would still be really successful and really amazing. But because they're connected to JoJo's, they just do that much better. But yeah, I think it's a really fun story. I have no complaints about part 5, just with the fact that I think there's other parts that are better. I think it does everything it needs to perfectly. The pacing's pretty good. And then just, yeah, Giorno's development with the other characters is very good. The deaths in this part are really good as well. I wish we got more time with Fuko. I know why we couldn't, but totally fair. Totally fair when you make a character that OP and you need to get rid of him and cut him off, then it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, just an amazing part overall. So yeah, I think that's that. Next up, we have Stone Ocean. Okay. So for Stone Ocean, let me preface by saying I read the manga before watching the anime, and I was really disappointed with the anime. I was so disappointed. Netflix really dropped the ball on this one, especially because I loved the Stone Ocean manga so much. I think Jolene is one of the best JoJo's, and dude, like, I don't know if it's better than part 6 or part 4. Like, it's literally, it can go either way, man. Part 6, I'm talking about the manga, by the way. The manga was so cool. The whole prison heist, being set in a prison, is really cool in Florida. So we're in the United States again, which we hadn't been since part 2. I think is really cool. I think Jolene's one of the best written JoJo's. She is like, I think besides Johnny, and maybe Josuke from part 8, you can argue, I think she has the like most character development, of where you can be like, oh, from the very first chapter to the ending, there's a clear character change and development in her, and which I think is amazing. She grows and evolves into such a great character, starting from by only like caring about herself, hating everyone, to loving her family, and right up until her final moments, where the timeline gets reset. she really just cares for all her friends and everything, and it's amazing. The side characters are amazing. Hermes, Emporio, Weather Report, Anasui, Jotaro coming back, like such great side characters. And then dude, Pucci, oh my gosh, he's such a cool villain. Such a cool villain with White Snake, and then obviously Made in Heaven coming out later on is just so cool. It's such a fun part, man. The stands are really cool, and then but it just sucks, man. The anime dropped the ball so hard. They dropped the ball so hard, man. Like, why did Netflix have to release it in three batches across like almost 3 years, dude? It felt like forever. They just killed the hype and killed the vibes, especially the middle part of Stone Ocean gets a little slow when they're like when she's in like solitary confinement and she's fighting like the dragon stand. I forget what it's called, but that guy and like those fights in there get a little kind of iffy. And then you have like, oh, what's the stand called? Survivor. Like just it kind of some weird stands, and just it kind of gets a little, I didn't even mention Foo Fighters, also another great character. And I was so excited because the voice actor of Killua was gonna voices Foo Fighter in the anime, and yeah, maybe I need to rewatch Part 6 fully now that it's like done, and maybe I'll have a different perspective on it. But yeah, but I will say it definitely has one of the best endings in JoJo's. Oh my gosh. And I will say that is something the anime did get right. I cried, man, that final episode of Stone Ocean. I'm not gonna lie, I cried. It was really good. It was so good. And yeah, I just think that yeah, oh my god, Stone Ocean was so good. Weather Report's whole character arc is really good, and just seeing Jolene progress, the fights amazing. I love just again being set in the United States when they're at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida is so cool. Um, it's just fun, man. The whole prison heist is such a fun concept and a fun story. And I think even for being in one setting most of the whole part, it never got dull. And it was very cool to a very good change of pace from part five, where, we're all across Italy in one self-contained area is really cool. And yeah, I think Pucci was great, and seeing how it all connects and ties up and ends the story of the main part of the JoJo bloodline altogether is really cool. So no complaints, man. Great story. I think Jolene kills it. And just all the side characters are great. It's just a really fun story, man. A really fun story. And then just the way the ending, God, it definitely gets a lot of brownie points because of the ending. The ending is so good. The final line with Emporio, amazing. And just Joshua sacrifices, and when you think all hope is lost, it's, oh my gosh. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. But okay, here we go. Moving on to part seven. Yeah, that's just the easiest S tier. S tier. Yeah, I mean that's just it, man. I think that's the only right answer. Obviously, guys, people talk about Steel Ball Run as one of the best parts in JoJo's, and not even just the best parts of JoJo's, the best manga of all time. It's got to be top of S tier. And for me, obviously, for a lot of the reasons why people say it's number one is the same reasons I say it's number one. Johnny is similar to Jolene, one of the only characters in JoJo's as a protagonist that really has crazy character development. Obviously, they all do. Like Jotaro, Josuke from part four, Joseph, they all have character development, but just Jolene, Johnny, and then Josuke from part eight, especially, all three are the best written JoJo's in my opinion. And I'm very excited to see in JoJo Lands how Jodio plays out compared to the other JoJo's. But Johnny's so good, man. How he starts as a selfish horseback rider who only wants to get back in the spotlight and only joins the race so he can learn to walk again to fix himself is just really cool to see how he ends and how he ends up like sacrificing so much and what he does for his friends. And then obviously we have the greatest Joe Bro side character of all time in Gyro Zappelli. Amazing written character, amazingly written. And then we have some of amazing other side characters like Lucy Steele, Hot Pants, Steven Steele, Mountain Tim, And there's just so many good characters, dude. Diego Brando, a Funny Valentine, the best villain. Oh my, it's so good. It's so good. And Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And then I just love how, again, it's set in the United States and it's about a horse race, man. It's so creative. It is so creative and out there. And then when you learn how it's tied into religion and all the religious symbolism that is continued in part 8 as well, is so cool. And I think it has such a heavy task because it still branded itself as connected to JoJo's, but it being its own part and a way to continue the series after the events of part 6, which is really difficult. And you can just tell that Araki was in his bag doing this, man, that he was really passionate. I love how it kind of takes a step back from stands. Like, even in the first episode of Steel Ball Run the anime, which just came out like last month or 2 months ago, there's not a single stand in the episode. Like, it really just focuses on the mystery of Spin, and you kind of take a step back and lets us build and enjoy these characters and see them develop together as friends, which is awesome. And I just love it. I just think they did such a good job. It's such a great story. And again, the character development that we see in Gyro with his backstory and what his prior job was, I won't spoil it for, anime onlys. And then Johnny, just again, his whole backstory is incredible as well. And Funny Valentine, his whole philosophy is just so cool about how he also, here we have another antagonist who's literally like, you kind of see where he's coming from. He's just like, dude, I'm doing this for my country. I'm doing this because I want my country to succeed. And then we have, again, some of the best fights in JoJo's with obviously Funny Valentine's fight at the end, Diego Brando's, the huge reveal at the end of the anime or the end of the manga, which I won't spoil, but if you've read the manga, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about with Diego. And it's just, oh my God. When I saw that, when I read that for the first time, I lost my mind. I lost my mind. But yeah, so he's really good. Lucy Steele is great. Again, her whole arc with Funny Valentine is cool and just he's terrifying to be around. And then we have obviously two of my favorite side fights in the entire series with Blackmore, Catch the Rainbow, so amazing. His stand, the art that you get to see him with the saint, the Holy Saint, his whole interaction with that it's so beautiful, so great. The art is fantastic. And then we have obviously Ringo Road again, a true man's world. Like, oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, I love part 7. Part 7 is so cool, and I'm so happy that we're in that era for the anime right now because it's a fun time, man. It's a really fun time. And then just the ending of part 7 is beautiful, and it's just like you really can't ask for more, man. It is just so great. It's so great. And that's why I think it deserves to be the number one part in JoJo's, man. I think it is definitely up there. So yeah, that's part 7. But finally, for the final part, we have JoJolion. Oh man, where do I put it? Obviously it's not going down here. I'm thinking. Um yeah, I think it's gonna have to go top of A for me. I could put it bottom of S, but that'd be too, no, I don't want to lie to myself. JoJolion, I want to preface this so much, like, it had a lot of shoes to fill, man. Part 7 being the highest rated part of JoJo's, I knew it wasn't going to be as good. But I obviously went in with an open mind. I've heard mixed things because I knew that it was the longest part in JoJo's, and I had known a lot of people were kind of underwhelmed by the antagonist, the final villain of JoJo. You know, a lot of these parts are made and are remembered for their villains. And part 8 kind of has a very different way of dealing with that by introducing their villain with only like 30 chapters left in the whole series. So I kind of knew that going into it and just kind of went in enjoying it and just, again, I loved it. I loved it, man. I loved it for a lot of the same reasons I love part 4 because it takes place in this, small town with a lot of supernatural elements outside of, stands going on. And I think that's really evident here in part 8, especially with the rock humans and then the whole walleyes, which is so cool. I loved the, supernatural elements of it. As somebody who loves horror, it was great. It was so cool. And then we get Josuke, who is immediately the most intriguing JoJo because he wakes up with no memories. And very quickly, as we learn the story of Josuke in part 8, it becomes amazing. And it becomes such a great story. We have Yasuho, who is a great, side character for Josuke. And it's the first time we actually really get to see romance in JoJo's, which I wish they delve more into, but they don't, unfortunately. But it was great. And I want to say, up until the halfway point, I think this is the best part of JoJo. Like, I think it's genuinely probably my favorite part up until the halfway point. The whole story up until we learn about who Josuke is with the Doflamingo guy, or not Doflamingo, what's his name? That's from literally One Piece. Oh my god, I forgot his name. The chubby dude who is dating Josuke's sister. I forget her name. I forget their name. It's been since August, bro, and I've just been in school. But with him, his whole crew is so cool. The Rock Human guys, and whenever we learn the backstory of Josuke and who he really is and what he came from, it was amazing. And then we have the amazing panel where he goes to Holly Joestar in the hospital and confesses that he's like, I don't know who I am, but one thing's for certain, I'm your son, is one of the most beautiful lines in JoJo's. I love it so much. And yeah, it's great. And then we get into the final part of it with Toru and the Wonder of You, which is, oh man, so many mixed feelings on, so many mixed feelings, so many mixed, thoughts. And for what it is he has the most aura, dude. Wonder of You is the coolest design stand in my opinion. I love the history behind it. There's so many videos like X-Forts who've done breakdowns on Wonder of You, and Part A as a whole do an excellent job explaining the backstory of Wonder of You and like its inspiration and calamity and what that means and how it's the opposite of Johnny's Go Beyond, or not Johnny's Go Beyond, like Johnny's Tusk. It's really cool. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so cool. There's so much about Part 8 that I love. Again, there's a lot of religious aspect. All the side characters are really cool, except for Joshu. Hate that guy. But Yasuho, all the other Higashikata family like Norisuke, Jobin, I think is one of the most, I don't get why. Maybe it's because Part 8 hasn't been animated, but like I don't get why I don't see like more art and more praise about Jobin. He is so cool. I love Jobin. And then obviously the rest of the Higashikata family, like Jobin's mom, his wife is really cool. His son, with the whole rock disease and the whole Rokakaka fruit it's such a cool, fantastical world. And it is so awesome, man. I literally just can't give enough praise to this part. Like the more I think about it, the more I want to raise it. But it just does have some flaws that I think part 6, 4, and 7 just shine through more. And for me, that's why it's kind of at the bottom of or the top of A, but not making its way into S tier. I think it's up there, man. It's hard, dude, because I know I do recognize that there's a lot of flaws in part 8, and there's a lot to be desired that doesn't really get answered, and it does feel like it has such an abrupt ending. I think the highs of part 8 are just so high, man. They're so high, and they just do so much for me. And yeah, it's tough. I need to think about this definitely some more. But I think I have to give it just top of A, man. Just because Josuke again, his growth too, like I said with Jolene and Johnny from part 7, Josuke in part 8, his development is beautiful about him learning who he is and then what he wants to live for, who he wants to protect, and what he wants to do is just so beautiful. And how he comes to terms with all of that is so cool. And then how it connects to part 7 is really cool. So yeah, I think it's a really good part. I think it's a really good part. But yeah, man. That's so this is my list, guys. So I guess in first we have Steel Ball Run. Second we have Diamond is Unbreakable, Stone Ocean, JoJolion, Golden Wind, Stars Crusaders, Battle Tendency, and then Phantom Blood. I think. What do we think, guys? How do we feel about this? Is this the only correct list? What do we think? Oh man, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But yeah. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's my tier list. I can't believe I've been rambling for like 35 minutes. This is outrageous. This is crazy. But I love JoJo, so I could talk about this all time. I mean, if you guys want me to do another tier list, maybe talking about like stands from each part or the protagonists only, the protagonists and side characters, I would love to do that more because obviously there's so much that I could talk. I'd do a whole video talking about every single one of these parts. But yeah, it's fun to rank all of them. And just so this is my definitive list, guys. Hopefully we'll see. I haven't started JoJo Lands yet. I don't know if I want to, just because I've never read a JoJo part, as it's releasing. And I feel like I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings after reading Chainsaw Man about reading like weekly and monthly. So I don't know. We'll see. But if you guys want me to read it and start reviewing it, then I would love to do that. So let me know what you guys think. And without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Arrivederci.